on psychoeducational theory of mental retardation. What emerged was a melding of these academic foci with earlier first-hand experiences as a teacher of special education kids in the public schools of Harlem and South Bronx in New York. Peabody training fosters a belief that your grasp should exceed your reach, while reminding you to keep your feet firmly grounded on the realities facing children in our nation's schools. The second observation is that Peabody guides its students to respect and accommodate to individual differences. My atypical EDD program permitted me, as an iconoclastic student, to pursue advanced measurement and research design as a minor at the Vanderbilt psychology department, and at the same time, I also pursued an art education minor at Peabody. All designed by me to avoid the unappetizing language requirement of the PhD degree. Ironically, however, 6 years later, I found myself as a faculty member of the University of Michigan at the Sorbonne in Paris, conducting research with colleagues on computer-assisted teaching of, guess what, foreign languages. Throughout my career, I have tried to emulate the flexibility and respect for individual differences afforded to me in my advanced training. My empirical and applied interests have focused on policies concerning how institutions address student variance and individual differences in their educational systems. I ask that you too consider this orientation as a legacy passed to you by Peabody's faculty and administration. A third observation is that Peabody training transmits strong commitments to mentorship. Please indulge me in yet one other reminiscence of my earlier days at Peabody. Under the guidance of Professor Don Zimmerman, I constructed a complex apparatus for my doctoral research. After many hours of hard work, I threw the toggle switch only to witness a veritable Chinese New Year celebration. My equipment short-circuited and was totally destroyed in the ensuing fire. I returned home dejected and discouraged about meeting my deadlines. But the next morning when I returned to the lab, I found that Dr. Zimmerman had stayed up all night to reconstruct my apparatus. Thanks to him, I subsequently went on to successfully complete my doctoral research. And of course, you have him to thank, or I should say blame, for my presence here today. I've never forgotten this incident. Over the years, I'm reminded of my responsibilities to support and mentor my students and junior colleagues toward assisting in their professional goals. I've consciously encouraged students to adopt these values and apply them to their students. As new graduates, I invite you to perpetuate this Peabody tradition in your work. Finally, as Peabody graduates, you've been subjected to influences designed to enhance readiness for local, state, national, and/or international leadership. Your training has introduced you to knowledge, skills, and attitudes necessary for successful contributions to your chosen fields. All of these attributes lead to the coveted Peabody, Vanderbilt, and Premature, and identify you as bona fide members of the family. In closing, and obeying George Burns' maxim about sermons, my advice to you is please remember, the world you want to live in needs you to create it. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank Thank you, Professor Semmel.